Flax and Hunter here. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon to support the channel, but you guys should subscribe. So today we are going to be talking about the fact that Qrow has stopped drinking for now.
More or less.
Sort of, yeah. Basically at the end of Volume 6. Volume 6, right?
Yes,
that's
the one we just watched.
That's the one where I'm just like, oh no. I was gonna say at the end of Volume 7. No. At the end of Volume 6. Basically, Qrow, like, goes to drink from his flask, and then he stops. So what does this mean? Hunter, what do you think?
Well, that he's slightly less... Well, you see... So I guess to understand Qrow's alcoholism, you have to understand Qrow as a character. It also appears that, like, alcoholism runs in the Branwen family, because rewatching Volume 5... You see Raven. You see Raven and just bottles by her nightstand.
Yeah.
Which
Raven
like,
is getting turned.
Jesus Christ.
Is that how I use that word? Raven is getting turned.
Yes.
Tent.
Yes. Imagine like Raven sloppy drunk, like Vernal! Vernal! I imagine it being like that.
Anyway, continue with what you were saying.
Okay, so yeah, it seems like alcoholism comes with the Branwen family, because rewatching Volume 5, you get the idea that Raven understands what Qrow understands in the Salem backstory episode. That big gut punch at the end that you cannot beat Salem, it is hopeless.
It seems like Raven knows that.
Yeah, because when she says it, it doesn't have quite the same punch as when Jin says it. But she's like, she can't be beaten.
Well, that's because we didn't believe her to some extent.
Yeah,
like,
you were like, well, you gotta
what does that mean that you can't?
You gotta be hopeful.
Well, when we thought that Raven said, "Oh, you can't kill Salem," we all were like, she's just too strong, right?
She's just drunk.
Yeah,
but no, you get the impression that no, this person knows you cannot beat Salem, and so because of that, she kind of falls into this hopelessness and this idea, like, well, I'm not going to deal with anybody else. I don't give a shit about Salem. It's kind of like Valentina.
From Genlock, she's like, I'm going to party like there's no tomorrow.
Like, they're like, I'm going to just go someplace very far away, get super fucked up, and eventually hope to die as late as humanly possible. And you get the idea that Raven feels the same way. She's just like, I am going to a very far in the woods with my band of bandits, of ruthless mercenaries. We're just going to pillage and murder, and I'm going to get day drunk on my nice duvet, and I'm just going to have a good time, and I'm going to wait out the apocalypse, because there's no way I can beat them. Qrow, he has issues. Like, he's always been drunk.
I think Qrow's issues are different.
He was always drunk, but he was kind of like a happy drunk sometimes.
Yeah.
He could at least be a happy drunk, or like be a charming drunk. He has clearly seen some shit.
Here's the timeline as I sort of see it. I feel like he probably started drinking after Summer died, and then he kept drinking, and he was sort of an always drunk, which is like, I know some always drunks, and so it's like, it's basically like they don't act any different. They're just always intoxicated somehow, and they seem to function fine.
Functioning alcoholic.
Like, functioning alcoholic, right? So, like, I feel like then, when, you know, it's one thing to drink after Summer dies and be a functioning alcoholic, because at least you're functioning, right? It's still not good, but at least you function.
But for a while, he's seen some shit. I can't also imagine.
Then, in Volume 4, he basically almost dies. So that's a big oopsie. Yeah, and then Volume 5, right? He seems to be still a functioning drunk, but he does see some shit even in Volume 5. All of his huntsman friends are dead. Yeah. So there's that. But then in Volume 6, you find out that bombshell that Salem can't be beaten. And so in Qrow's head, you kind of see, right, he says out loud that he thought that he was actually doing something, that he could change the world. But it's also like, did Summer die for nothing? Did we all fight for nothing?
All of his friends died for nothing.
All of his friends died for nothing.
He destroyed his relationship with his sister for nothing.
Yeah.
Because they were presumably close.
Yeah, and we can assume, too, that, you know, Raven tried to tell Taeyang and Qrow, and they just didn't believe her, right? Like, that, we talked about that before, but it's sort of like, Raven could have been like, listen, like, I saw it, Salem can't be killed, or whatever. I don't know what Raven saw that convinced her of that, but it's sort of one of those things where I feel like that's what was said, and Taeyang and Qrow were like, nah, you're full of shit, right? And that probably ruined Ty and Raven's romantic relationship, but also Qrow and Raven's, like, brother and sister, like, bond. And so then, you know, in Qrow's mind, he has to accept that Raven was actually right. Like, how do you do that? Like, that's a very tough, like, that's a hard pill to swallow. And so he goes from being a functioning alcoholic to a regular alcoholic.
To a non-functioning
alcoholic very quickly.
To a like, fuck everything, I'm just gonna go and get shit-faced while the rest of the teenagers
it's sort of
I'm
like,
currently...
Isn't Rick from Rick and Morty always intoxicated?
Yeah, he's always drunk.
And so you have, like, that sort of always drunk, but I'm pretty sure there's a couple episodes where he gets, like, very more drunk.
Yes.
And that makes sense. Like, there's scales of drunkenness, right? And so I feel like...
He's not blackout. He's blackout a couple
Qrow
times.
is blackout here, basically. Like, he's, like, falling all over himself.
Before...
He can't recognize a threat that's in front of him, right? I've heard that if you piss yourself while you're drinking, that shows that you've drank too much. I don't know what that is.
I've never done that, so that's probably a good sign. You see also in that scene where they're... after they just sort of learn about the bombshell Salem stuff and they find that small village and they're held up, Qrow's like, I'll take first watch overnight, but then he falls asleep.
Yeah.
And he never wakes up.
I mean, that was also because of the apathy, too.
That's also from the apathy. That's
but
true.
How easier would it be for the apathy to control someone who is already apathetic?
He seems far more affected than other people are by the apathy.
Yeah. And so there's that. And so I feel like that... Yeah, so basically he goes from functioning alcoholic to very not functioning alcoholic, and he's basically not even bothering to help the kids anymore. He's just going around and drink. But I think as things slowly continue, it's sort of, you see it in the end, but, you know, I think he sees something in RWBY that is the same spark. What are you doing? Looking at your hairline? Are you worried about your hairline receding, Hunter?
Always terrible.
Because you're always just... Anyway. It's one of those things where I feel like in all of RWBY's interactions, he sees something in her that he saw in Summer, right? And I feel like that would have been nice to actually see. Like, we talked about this before, but I really would have liked it in the scene where Qrow grabs RWBY not to, like, go over to Cordova, and it flashes, like, from RWBY to Summer. Like, I think that would
be a little...
I thought that would have been cute, at least, or at least... Not necessarily flashes, but the color of the hood changes for a minute. Like, he's starting to see her as
I think that's maybe a little on the nose.
Maybe. But at the same time, we don't know if he's actually seeing that. We're just we're making a presumption based off of what we've sort of seen. And so I think that we could presume that, yeah, he sees sort of the same hope that he saw in Summer in RWBY, and that sort of gets him on his feet. And he even says to Maria, like, I didn't do anything. And Maria's like, well, you were there when they needed you. And that's sort of all that matters, right? And sort of, I think his interactions with RWBY across the entire volume, but also his interaction with RWBY at the end, really got him to stop. Because I feel like that for Qrow, he's only drinking because he's trying to, like, cover up that sadness. You know what I mean? Or try to escape from a problem. But if RWBY and the kids, right, if they're basically his new hope, then he doesn't need to drink anymore. I know that alcoholism isn't that, like, you know, smooth and simple, but, like, I think that in terms of the show... That is sort of the simple, like, answer. It's that, you know, Qrow had no hope, now he has hope, so he stopped. Like, that's kind of it. And I don't think he's gonna stop drinking forever. I think he's just gonna go back to being a functioning drunk or a little less drunk, right?
Maybe not drinking all the time.
Exactly, because he did stop in that instance, right? Because he's like, I don't need this, you know? And obviously...
what if he just like, I'm empty, and put it down, and we're reading too much into this? That's probably not the case, but goddamn if it was.
I think that's
yeah, so that's the idea.
Yeah.
That
obviously, again, alcoholism isn't as simple as, well, I don't need this anymore, right? Like, obviously, people are addicted. But I'm saying in Qrow's case,
but people are addicted for a reason. And,
exactly.
And it was because now he seems to be gaining hope again. Yeah. Which is weird, because I feel like there's still the elephant of the room of, like, I feel like my one big criticism of Volume 6 is that they never properly addressed the elephant of the room of, like, hey, guys, the Salem can't die. We can't kill Salem. I feel like that was never properly addressed.
What do you mean, though?
I feel like they just kind of sort of got over it.
They kind of went, well, we can't kill her, but we still gotta hide the relic, I guess. Like, they hadn't come to terms with it,
we saw a statue of Pura and Oscar, you know.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think they're trying to beat Salem right now. All they're trying to do is get the relic to safekeeping. Yes. And so that's more of a preventative measure than actually going to beat her. So actually beating her may come in Volume 7 when they're like, so Iron wouldn't listen.
We know some shit.
You know what I mean? And maybe even after that, people are going to be like, well, we got the relic to Atlas, now really what can we do? Like we can't beat Salem, so we did our job, let's all go home. And that's going to be like, Ruby's going to be like, no, there has to be a way.
I feel like Ironwood often makes rash decisions when he's spooked, so I feel like they'll be like, Salem can't die, and I'm like, and he'll panic, and I don't know. Like,
I mean, if you could just, like, lock Salem up in a box.
And throw it in a tunnel.
Throw it in the ocean. It would be okay.
Either they have to make Salem, like, learn your lesson, young lady.
What do you mean?
Very old lady, I don't know. Stop trying to kill people.
Oh.
Either it has to be, like, a moral victory, like it has to be a victory of minds, because I don't know if they're able to put Salem in the ground.
Well, if the gods, say that humanity was united, as far as the gods go, they could call the gods back and be like, can you stop her, please?
Yeah, what if,
like, can you not do that? Like, could you undo her spell? Like, nah. You know what I mean?
If not, they'll destroy the world. But like, what if, and she
humanity
divides
united
them.
Against Salem.
And Salem's big thing is dividing.
Yeah.
So maybe if they are finding a way to, that'll be a bit of a cop out, but I'm almost okay with that. Anyways,
I hope you guys enjoyed.
Looking forward to Qrows like Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh God.
I feel like
there's one more thing I forgot.
Imagine if like Alcoholics Anonymous released like a World of Remnant video, but it's explaining the 12 steps of recovery.
Oh dear. So Winter has a problem with Qrow.
Yes.
And Qrow's a drunk.
Yes.
And Winter's mother is also a drunk.
Oh,
so I wonder if we're gonna see Weiss's mom, if that's gonna do anything, if that's gonna be anything.
Qrow's gonna be like, you don't mix your liquors.
Qrow had an affair with Winter, or with Weiss's mom, with Willow Schnee.
Well then, wouldn't that mean that Weiss and Yang are cousins? That would make all those freezer burn fics I've read a little awkward. Including the one I'm currently reading?
Well, it doesn't need... What if Whitley is the only son of Jacques? Oh no, that still wouldn't work. That would still make Winter and Weiss related to Yang.
Yeah.
What if it's just Winter that's related to Yang? Would that be okay?
Well then who did Weiss come out of? What woman?
Jacques. No! Hunter. All of them are Weiss's moms.
Yes.
But I'm saying that Winter has Qrow as her dad, but everybody else has Jacques as their dad.
Well, that would still make Weiss. That would still make Winter Weiss's half sister.
Yeah.
So it would still make him like your half cousin.
I don't think that's. I don't think that's
how
that works. If you're not related, it's not weird.
I'm from Georgia.
Like
I've been fucking my wife. No, not real. Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, no, a half sister because they share a father. Or, they share a mother.
Yeah.
They just have different fathers. They're still related.
Weiss wouldn't be Yang's cousin. Because there's no connection between Weiss and Yang. There's only a connection between Winter and Yang because of Qrow. So if Weiss isn't related to Qrow, then there's no connection. So it's a step cousin.
But Yang is related to Qrow, who is Winter's
dad.
Who is Winter's dad,
scenario.
who shares a mother with Weiss. There's not
But it's not direct.
But there's a biological connection.
No, there's not. There's
between
hardly
Winter.
A biological connection.
There's not a biological connection between Weiss and Yang.
Yeah, there's not a biological connection between Weiss and Yang. That's what I'm saying. They're not biologically related.
But there's a biological... Well, I also like Elderburn fix, so there's a biological relation between...
We got off topic. I'm sorry. We'll see you guys later. Bye. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you to all of our lovely patrons who have decided to support us over on Patreon. If you guys want to join up, there are a bunch of cool rewards for you guys, and some of the fan favorite rewards you guys could say are getting early access to our videos, being able to join and talk in our Discord server, being able to request videos at the $10 tier using video tickets. Those are just some of them, and so if any of those things interest you guys should check it out, become a patron, join our lovely patrons and I in the Discord server, and I will see you all in another video. Bye guys!